Good morning, guys. We are going to be talking about slope today. What is slope? What do you think about when you hear the word slope? Okay? Slope is the steepness of a line or the rate of change. Okay? So when you think about the steepness of a line or the rate of change, what that means is how steep a slope is, or maybe if it's more flat. The way it changes, the rate that it changes at, that is your slope. Okay? Okay. There are 4 types of slopes. Okay? There is going to be a positive slope. Positive slope is when it looks like it's moving uphill. It has to go up and over to the right. Okay? So if you look at this one right here, this one's going to be positive. Okay? See, the line is moving up in positive direction and to the right in a positive direction. Okay? That's when you'll have a positive slope. Okay? When it looks like you're going up the hill. Right? The other type of slope is negative. Okay? On the negative slope, you're going to have where you're going down, or you'll be moving to the left. So you can look at it either way. If we look at it like we're moving down, we move down and to the right to find our next point. Or if you look at it, we go up, but then we have to go to the left to find our next point. See, this is negative or this is negative. One or the other will be negative for it to be a negative slope. Okay? It also looks like we're going down the hill. So this is the negative slope and this is the positive slope. Okay? The other 2 types of slopes are undefined and the slope of 0. Okay? I want you to think about a hill, and if it has a 0 slope, it'll be flat, right? So this one is going to be the 0 slope, the slope of 0. Okay? A horizontal flat line has a slope of 0. Its steepness doesn't move up at all. And then you'll notice over here the vertical line. That is undefined. Okay? It is undefined because all of the x values for that entire line are the same. For this particular one, they're all at -3. And so when you calculate the slope, it would have a denominator of 0, and we know that that's not allowed. And we'll go over that a little bit more right now. Okay? So you see how the denominator of our slope formula, here's our slope formula, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay? M is the slope. So with this formula, we calculate the slope of a line. x1, y1, that's just going to be an ordered pair. It's a point. It's 0.1. x2, y2 is 0.2. Okay? So to calculate the slope, if you're given 2 points, you just plug the pairs into your slope formula. Now, we know we can't ever divide by 0. The denominator of our fraction can't ever be 0. So if we were subtracting 2 of the same values on the denominator, it would become 0. That's why the vertical line is undefined. Okay? So let's take a look at the example we have down here. Determine the slope of the line that goes through the pairs of points. Okay? So if we say this first one is x1, y1, and the second point is x2, y2. Okay? It doesn't matter which one you label, point 1 or point 2, just so long as you keep the ordered pair together. So if 3 is going to be x1, then negative 4 has to be y1 because they're in that ordered pair together. Okay? So then we just plug our values in, and you'll notice that when you plug them in, your ordered pair makes a fraction. So y2, 7, divided by x2, divided by negative 5. See, they're on top of each other. Okay? In the numerator, we have our minus sign, and then we have a negative 4. So don't get confused by that minus the negative. Remember, always put your parentheses in there. And then in the denominator, x2 was negative 5 minus x1. So we've got our minus sign, and x1 is 3. Okay? From there, minus a negative will make this become a positive, right? So we'll have 7 plus 4, and then we'll have negative 5 minus 3. So 7 plus 4 is going to give us 11, and negative 5 minus 3 is going to give me negative 8. So my slope is going to be, that negative sign can just go out in front of my fraction, 11/8, negative 11/8. So our graph of this particular slope would be a negative, right? It's going to be falling because it's got a negative slope. All right, so looking at our graph here, how are we going to find the slope? Well, you'll see right over there on the right, I've got all the steps to help you find the slope. It says find 2 pretty points. Okay, so what are pretty points? When I say pretty points, I mean points that go through the line perfectly. So, for example, right here, that's a pretty point, and right here. You don't want any half points, basically. You don't want to have to use fractions, okay? So let's label those 2 points. This point is going to be 0, 2, and this point is 4 is my x value, and 3 is my y value. Now, we find the pretty points. We label them. This is going to be x1 and y1, and this is going to be x2 and y2. Okay, so we plug those in. We get 3 minus 2 over 4 minus 0. 3 minus 2 gives me 1. 4 minus 0 gives me 4. So my slope is 1/4. Okay? If your fraction can simplify, you need to simplify it. Okay? Now, this is how you can do it when you're given the ordered pairs. But if you've got a nice, neat graph like what we have here, you can count the slope. We can see that from this point to this point, I'm going to go up 1. So my rise is 1. And my run is going to be over 4. And they're both in the positive direction, so it remains positive, right? So there's another way to find slope. It's the rise over the run. All right, and when you see an equation, you can identify the slope because it is the number attached to x. Okay, so in this particular equation, the m represents the slope. It is the coefficient of x. It is not x. It is only going to be a coefficient. So let's say there was a 2 here, and I asked you what the slope was. The slope would not be 2x. That is not the slope. Okay? The slope would be 2. Okay? And we are done, guys. Thank you. Have a great day.